everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Erica with Memory Box Candle Co. and I make videos all about making and selling candles. And today's video is going to be another make candles kind of video. I am throwing it back old school to the way that I used to do it, just live, no voiceover, anything like that. So I thought I would do something different for today, mainly because I know that I have other things that I want to do later on today and spend time with Chris when he gets home, and having to do a voiceover and all that kind of stuff just takes up more time in the editing process. So I am going to get everything set up. I do already have all of these jars and everything prepped and ready to go, and I will talk about that in just a moment. But I'm actually going to get my little apron on that I have made, and I'm going to switch up the mic placement because I think this is actually going to cover the mic when I put this on. There we go, that should be good enough. Now I'm all ready to go to make candles. I don't have my candle making shoes on though, because I'm not gonna be up on my feet for that long, and also I don't want you to hear the squeaky sounds when I'm walking around. You already might be able to hear the noises coming from outside, because if you've been following me for any length of time, you know that I usually actually wear my respirator, but I didn't really wanna go full respirator with you guys, because I would be talking like this the whole time, and I just don't know how that actually sounds on video, so I'm not going to use that. I'm going to put that off to the side. So we are just going to go back to the basics, and my printer decided to do the calibration process right now, so if you hear that, I apologize. But I went through this morning and I turned on all of my wax pots. So I have my wax pot right here, and then I also have my wax pot that you will see in just a moment that has my beeswax on there. So I have this set to the temperature of about, I think it's at about 190 to 195 right now, the wax in there, and this is soy 10. These are the 13.5 ounce Cali jars from California Candle Supply. They have a 3.25 inch diameter. I double wick them with 2 CDN2s. I use soy 10 with a little bit of beeswax. I don't like giving my exact wax formula because it's always changing, and I learned from previous videos that I don't want to always give that information because people take it too much at face value and just only use that formula without testing, and I don't want anybody to do that because I want everybody to do their own testing on what works for you. But I went through, and I believe there is 24 of these. I just went through and took a full box of these jars and just wicked them. I realized I didn't twist this. So I'm gonna twist this on here, and then I do get these custom wick holders made specifically for these jars. I will have that linked in the description box below if you want to see where I get it. He actually just recently opened up his Etsy shop again, so that is awesome. I know that he was kind of taking a break for a little bit, doing a couple other things. But what I'm going to be doing in today's video is actually making some of these spring and summer scents. Now, I've procrastinated before in the past, but when I say that I've procrastinated with this and just totally put it out of my mind, I am very much serious about that, because as I think some of you know, I did get married a week ago last Saturday, and prior to that, I mean, I really was just focusing on the wedding, getting things ready, getting things together, being in contact with the venue and the officiants and the photographer, and you know how that all works. And even though it was a small wedding, I still was kind of focusing a lot on it. And I told myself a while ago, like, make sure that you order all of the scents that you need, because when you finally need them, you might not be able to have them. So kind of the issue right now in a way. A lot of the scents are coming from Candle Science, and there's one scent, which is the pink sugar crystals, that I used last year for my rock candy scent, and it's not available for, I think, like a week or two or something like that. I do still have a bottle left, so I think I'm going to use that, but I don't know. I'm kind of not upset with myself. It is what it is. I do have, where is it? I do have another scent that I'm going to be using, which is the Sunflower and Sea Mist. And funny enough, we're also going to be making some Golden State candles. That is not any longer a part of the spring and summer collection, which it was last year, but I decided, because it is such a wonderful scent and I love it so much, that I decided to put it a part of the nostalgia collection instead. And I'm running really low on it, and I've had a couple of requests to bring it back. That is also what we are going to be doing. So Golden State, we're going to be doing that, and then 2 of the spring and summer scents. So what I've learned over the years of making candles is that for these specific jars that I use, I don't like to have them like this and arranged like this. I kind of have to arrange them in a certain specific way when I'm actually making candles. And I do have my table pushed up quite a bit on this side. A lot of times I do like to kind of have the table in the middle to where I can walk around it. But because I'm not really making that many candles right now, I can kind of adjust it to my liking and kind of the way that I need it to be. So I'm going to be making 5 candles at a time in each pitcher. So each pour of the pitcher is going to contain enough to fill up 5 of these jars. And I'm just gonna arrange it in a way to where it is easiest for me to pour. So what I like to do is the top row is 3, the bottom row is 2. And I will actually move the 2 out of the way until I'm ready to pour them. And that just makes it a lot easier to actually reach the jars, because again, I want to make sure I have full control, and I want to make sure that I am, again, not going to spill and not have to get to a weird angle to actually pour. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with measuring all of these on what I need. So just checking my chart, I'm going to need 110 grams of fragrance oil per scent, and I like to do 8% fragrance oil. When I first got started, I always used 10%, and that was just because I thought the more the better. But that's not always the case. You can get a pretty strong cold throw and hot throw with just using about, 7, 8, 9%. Some oils, I mean, depending on how you test it and everything, you might want to go a little bit stronger. But I have found that using 8% is just totally fine. And these are those super large silicone measuring cups that I showed in my previous Amazon favorites video. Okay, that is set on there. Now we are going to take the Golden State one and again pour in 110 grams. You would think by now I'd be a lot more accurate with pouring, and I have gotten better with it and estimating and everything. I used to be better at estimating on the smaller silicone cups because I'd kind of know based on the density of the oil where about it would need to be in order to get to the total weight that I needed. But now with these bigger cups, it's a little bit harder to tell because I'm not used to it yet, so I'm over pouring like crazy. So I am going to take this heat gun and heat up the bottom of this pouring pitcher just so, again, it's not a drastic difference between the temperature of the wax and then the temperature of the pitcher when it hits inside of it. All right, so now I'm going to turn on my scale, put the pitcher on it, make sure that I am bringing this closer, because one of these days I will get a block of wood to raise this up, but until that day happens, I have to keep this down here in order to make it to where I can actually make candles. And then push this back, tear it, and then we are going to be measuring out 1,255 grams. So I'm gonna do the pink sugar crystals one first, because it's, sometimes when I'm making candles, I like to use fragrances that are on the fruitier side first for some reason. I just think that that's an easier scent to cover up than like a musky, masculine, or floral scent. Okay, we are at 1255. Pour that in right away. I want to make sure that the wax is hot enough to where when I go to blend it, that it's going to bind with the wax. A lot of times if you're having issues with binding, it's probably because you are adding in the fragrance oil at too cool of a temperature. So I added in the fragrance oil just now at probably about 190-ish, maybe 185, 190-ish. Just because I know that the longer the wax sits in the pot, sometimes I do check it and it does get closer to that 200 mark. And then keep in mind that by the time that the wax gets in the pouring pitcher, it is going to cool down slightly. So always keep that in mind. That's also another reason why I like to make sure that I heat up this pouring pitcher before I pour in the fragrance oil. And then now I'm going to add in some beeswax as well. So I'm going to move this and take this over here. And actually, I'm going to leave that over there. That's why I buy so many scales, and I ruined one of my other scales. But I like to have multiple scales because it makes it easier during this process. So now is the time where I pray that this did not already solidify on the outside right here, and then I will be able to pour this in. Nope, it's solidified. So then I have to take a heat gun and do this. There we go. Whoop. It's always so satisfying. Such one of those weird satisfying things when it finally melts enough for it to actually break free. Okay, there we go. Gonna blend that all in, make sure that I melt down that larger piece that was kind of stuck in there. That is the one thing I really do have to say about beeswax that I'm not a huge fan of, is how temperamental it is with the melt point. It's nice because it has a higher melt point for me to add in so that my double wick candles burn a lot better, but man, is it challenging. So I typically don't check the temperature at all before I pour, but just so you know, it's at about 165 to 170. If you've ever used one of these thermal raters, you know that they are kind of all over the place in the actual temperature. So I am going to grab this. This is actually something that I got made again from that Etsy shop that also makes the custom wick holders. And I am going to take it on over here. This is how I know when to stop pouring. So I'm going to put that on the edge and then also have a paper towel. And then I kind of just lean over and make sure that I have complete control of the pouring pitcher before I actually pour the wax inside. And then as soon as it hits right above this, I take this out and I move it on over to the next one. This is so much better than my aluminum foil. I don't know if he sells this yet. I have no idea, so I apologize if not. But we actually had to customize this. So it was longer, and then Chris at his work, he used some sort of saw device of some kind and sawed it, cut it off to where I needed it. Then once I have all three of those set, then I take two more. I put it in front, trying to use as little amount of room in this space and making sure that I'm taking advantage of it. And again, if you guys have a better way of doing this, please let me know, because this is the best way that I have figured out how to do it. Also, if you're curious to see a close-up on any of this, watch any of my other candle making videos. I always show close-ups of that. This is actually one of the few times recently that I've actually been in a video, because typically it's nice to not have to, not that I really got dressed up for you guys or anything, but it's nice not to have to worry about what I look like and all that kind of stuff. Especially, again, I usually wear the respirator, so this is just a little bit different. So what I'm doing now is just going through, and there's a little bit of residue left in there, and I just want to make sure that I'm just trying to fill up any of the ones that look a tad bit short and get as much out of there as possible. Okay, now we're moving on to the very next one. And honestly, when I have the fragrance oils pre-measured out, this process goes by so fast, and it's just kind of like boom, 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 mix, stir, pour over here, all that kind of stuff. Like, it goes by so fast. And it was one of the things that I think that helps with the efficiency of everything. So efficiency is something that I think that as soon as you get to a certain point in your business where you are needing to make more candles at a time and you're really wanting to grow, spending that money on equipment that can make things more efficient is just, it makes all the difference. And I feel like I should make an entire video just on the efficiency of everything and how, I'm going to say the word again, how to be the most efficient as possible with candle making, because if you're like me and you've come from the double boiling method, you know how nice it is to actually have a big, huge pot that can melt down your wax. It's amazing. All right, so pouring this on in here. So this scent right here, I am again using from last year's collection, the Sunshine collection. but I named it Spring Cleaning, and I kind of regretted naming it that. So I'm gonna name it something different this year, and that's just because it's a spring and summer collection, and I just felt like in springtime, nobody wanted to purchase a candle called Spring Cleaning. Or I'm sorry, in the summertime, people didn't want to purchase a scent called Spring Cleaning. So that's also something to think about too, that I'm learning as well, is to not niche down too much. And that's also why, like my summertime scent that I have, I get a little, I kind of want to change that name because it's summertime, and I just feel like people think, oh, well, only the summertime you can use that candle. But no, you can use it at any time of the year. It's just what I decided to name it for the Nostalgia Collection. So that's something that I was learning as well. So that's why I wanted to change the name of it. And I want to see if this scent, if changing the name of the scent will actually make it sell a little bit better in the summertime. These fragrances are very, very strong. That's also why I'm only showing you guys 3 different scents, 5 different candles each, just because I know that these scents are going to start getting real strong for me, and I am happy that there's not tons of noise going on outside, knock on wood, because otherwise I feel like that would be a huge challenge. Can you see? Yeah, you can see. I keep having to adjust the camera. I also don't know if my head's cut off, so I apologize about that. Kind of looks like it. But I'm just going to do the same thing. It's a very repetitive process. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of patience, and just kind of learning how to do it the best way possible. And again, there is that pistol funnel that I've used before, and that has its own kind of challenges in and of itself. But in terms of pouring, if you're nervous about pouring, it's a pretty cool device to try out, especially if you have to fill like tiny little sample cavities, or if you are using jars like mine to where if you spill, you're kind of SOL. Unless you use, actually, you know what? I have heard people say that a magic marker works on the outside of these, and I really have to try that because I have not sold many a candle because of making a mistake and pouring on the sides. So those 3 are all good to go. I'm going to bring these 2 over here and get that all set up. Grab the paper towel, do a weird bending motion, which honestly, I have the leg extenders on this table right now, and it has made it so much better to pour these candles because I used to have to bend down so much more. And I had somebody in my last video say that I make candle making sound extremely painful. That's not, it's not my intention, but I have to let you know, like, the things that are going to help you, because just like anything, I mean, candle making is work. Yes, it's fun, especially when you get to play around and when it's new and exciting and all that. But when you have to batch make candles and it's work, and, you know, you're making money from it, and it's, I mean, it can definitely feel like work at that point. All right, the next scent, I am going to move these off to the side right here. So I'm going to bring 3 of them right here, and then keep 2 over here so that I can grab those when they're done. And then just like the other ones, I have to make sure I turn that on. It's already tared down to 0. Turn that on, fill it up to 1255. Get this turned on for the beeswax. And I love when this is full because it comes out pretty fast, but it's not very splattery. And it's nice. I mean, I think in the beginning of me doing a review on this, I think I did say that it was a little splattery, but honestly, it's really not. It's pretty controlled. Whoop. I hate when I accidentally go over. Perfect. Pour that on in there. Try to get as much of the residue of the fragrance oil out as possible. And I like to stir it at this point and not wait until the beeswax is in there, because I know that the longer I wait, the faster the temperature is going to drop. And I just want to make sure that I get it all blended in there at the proper temperature. And then I can add in the beeswax and really stir it again. So bring it on over here, tare it, pour in the beeswax. There we go. I'm going to stir this, and then it's ready to pour. So I'm going to take this on over here. Probably have to adjust the camera because I don't think you guys will be able to see. So that's good. Put this little measuring device right there, grab my paper towel. And I did put these kind of far away. So what I've noticed is that the first pour is always the hardest because it's the fullest and you don't have as much of that angle to really pour. So, yay, I didn't spill. Get that all the way up there and quickly kind of pull it back up. Put this over here. I love the way this one smells. This one is Golden State. And then the more I pour, the easier it gets because the lower the liquid gets inside the pitcher. And the lower the liquid is inside the pitcher, the more control you have over the pour. You know, I was just thinking of this one video that I saw of my friend Jessie when she was making her candles, and she had it full to like the brim of the pitcher, and she was so smart. She said that what she does is she'll make like almost like a double batch in here. So if you want to have it about halfway, she'd make a double and put it up, and then just pour half of it into another pitcher to make it easier to pour. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that might actually save me so much time and what I need to actually start doing, because I feel like that is absolutely brilliant. We can learn so much from each other and from other candle makers, because I've learned so much. Like, she also taught me about keeping the wrapper on these, and I was wondering why she kept the little plastic wrap on there, but it's just to protect it even more from your fingerprints of moving it around and all that kind of stuff. And I thought that was really, really smart to do, because, I mean, when I'm moving it around and if I have oil on my fingertips from touching the fragrance oil bottles and stuff like that, I don't want to be touching the actual jars. And I just thought it was brilliant, so I've been doing it ever since. But anyways, guys, that is going to do it for today's videos. Thank you so much for watching today's little make candles with me style video. As always, let me know if you enjoy this kind of content. I love doing this kind of thing, and you know that I typically don't ever make candles without my respirator. So I'm actually going to throw that on right now and make some more candles before I have to make dinner. And I am making homemade chicken noodle soup tonight. So really excited about that. But thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave it a big thumbs up, as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, don't forget to follow me over on my new Instagram at Erica Marie Morris, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys. I hate that it doesn't rhyme anymore, but it's okay. I am going to be talking more about candle making content on that new Instagram and just kind of sharing so much more. And it's already been so much more fun to share so many different things that I haven't been able to on my regular brand's Instagram, just because it didn't make any sense for me to do that. So please go follow me over on there to have more of that one-on-one connection and just hear more tips and tricks and personal stuff and business stuff. And yeah, so I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.